California Ag Leadership Program is the most powerful leadership program in the world. The journey that it takes you on is simply incredible. I would consider Class 44 to be my brothers and sisters, and I consider the rest of the alumni to be an extended part of that family.
This program has changed me immensely in many ways. One of the main things is I am a lot more self-aware.
You know, when we first showed up at Ag Leadership, I don't think any of us had a slight concept of the journey that we'd be going on.
When I first started the Ag Leadership Program, I had a general understanding of what it could do for me and how it could grow me as a person, but I could have never understood the depth of change that myself as a person would go through until the end of the program, and really looking back, knowing how much I've grown.
California Ag Leadership has given me a lot of insight, a lot of knowledge, a lot of experiences that I wouldn't have had in any other program that's out there. The 23 new friends that I now have that I didn't have before is something I wouldn't trade for the world.
I had no idea it was as intense as it was, or as it is. There's so many more benefits to this beyond agriculture. Really, the title Ag Leadership doesn't do it justice.
At the beginning of the program, I didn't really understand the impact the program was going to have on me, but the way it affected me internally, my personality, my behaviors, that was a surprise to me, a very good surprise.
Ability First was something that sticks out in my mind, where we went and saw some severely handicapped children, and just getting out of your comfort zone, seeing people that didn't have even the ability to comprehend things and understand things. So it changed my perspective on handicapped people in general.
I got into Ag Leadership because the people that have been my greatest mentors in life have been a part of the program, and I was told that it would change my life. But that statement was one that I never really understood until actually going through the program. I gained skills that are going to help me now for the rest of my career.
The national trip really gave me the best picture at the time of what the program really had to offer.
Okay, so we're here at the Pennsylvania State House, which later became known as Independence Hall, and this is where both the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution were debated and eventually signed. So it's a pretty important space, and our whole class got to visit it, and we're all reflecting now on the importance of good debating skills and good leadership.
Here at the United States Capitol, just met with Congressman Nunes. He showed us the room where they do all their magic, I guess, do all the votes on everything they vote on. We see it on TV. You know, I've seen it many times on the State of the Union address, and it's actually pretty cool to see it in real life.
The international component of Ag Leadership is beyond imaginable.
The Sheikh Zayed Mosque in Abu Dhabi has miles and miles of marble covering the entire building, carpets hand woven in Iran, beautiful glasswork. It was probably the cleanest thing I saw there, because if you notice, most things in Dubai, because of all the sand and dirt, were relatively dirty, but all of a sudden there's just this white mosque that stands out. It's very impressive to come around the corner and that's all you see is white and gold.
One of the scenarios that I remember in Africa was getting off a plane in Lusaka and just looking at one of my classmates, and we both had this feeling of humbleness that someone was taking this time to invest in us as individuals, and that we really felt the need to pay it forward.
And we traveled down this pathway, this road. The road's getting worse, the potholes are larger, and the living conditions got increasingly worse as we went down this rough dirt road. Really, really destitute area.
Chikambuso in the capital city Lusaka of Zambia. And this is an orphanage for children whose parents, one or both, have died as a result of AIDS. And many of the children were also HIV positive, as were the women who ran this orphanage school.
We broke up into groups and were given tours of the classrooms. We would walk in the doorway and every student would stand up. Good morning, sir. It was just really, really touching, really heartwarming to see that. One of the classrooms we went into, the kids wanted us to introduce ourselves. So as we went around and introduced ourselves, when I introduced myself with my voice, they all started laughing. I'm Paul. Okay. And they just got a big kick about this little guy with a big voice.
So we were in Zambia and we went to a remote village where we had to vaccinate goats.
They probably had like 150 goats. And they rounded all up. The people were just amazingly friendly. Got all these goats together and we got to process them, and I really enjoyed getting to see my classmates kind of put on their game and go through these goats and work through them. It was a really good day.
And while we were at this village, we realized there was a bunch of kids running around and kind of in the way vaccinating, and so Taylor and myself went to the van and got 2 soccer balls that we had in the van, and we just started kicking around, playing the common sport among the world. And when I realized that they had a ball that they played with, which was just made out of shopping bags and twine, I was talking with the bus driver to do some negotiating with the tribal leader there to get the ball, and I was just kind of saying it in passing, and next thing I know is they brought us one of their balls and they got to keep 2 of our balls, and this ball just really represents of what Africa's like and the struggle they go through on a day-to-day basis, but yet they make the best out of what they have.
We're at Cliptown Youth Project, and it's in the township of Soweto. We've been working in the kitchen for the last hour fixing sandwiches. It was a very, very basic sandwich. It consisted of a very thin layer of jelly between 2 pieces of bread. So this is what we've got for the sandwiches. So they get bagged off and refrigerated and passed out tomorrow. Yes, there's also lunch. Part of the group was outside, or excuse me, at the doorway. Students were coming outside for their 1 hot meal per day.
We were leaving Clipton, one of the poorest areas in the world. People, 10, 12 people living in tin shacks, sharing outhouses, very, very impoverished community. And as we were leaving, a young child grasped onto my hand and wanted to walk with me all the way back to the bus. And as we got closer and closer to the bus, his grip got tighter and tighter on my hand, and eventually we had to break that grip, and the boy started to cry. And it's something that I'll always remember, because you don't see that much of that in the United States, and you're not subjected to that. And there is poverty in the United States, but compared to what we have here and the opportunities we have here and the lack of opportunities people have in other countries, it opened my eyes greatly, and I'll always carry that in my heart.
We were out in the most remote place you could imagine. I don't know how Dr. Thomas was able to find it, but we found ourselves at a place where 12 women were engaged in vegetable farming. And as soon as we walked onto the place, there was this woman there that was maybe not quite as tall as me, but she was just this wonderfully beautiful person who just had a stature about her that I will never forget. She picks carrots for a living, and I have a picture of the 2 of us, and I cherish it. There's this kind of secret camaraderie between really tall women. I call it the power forward that never got to suit up.
One of the moments I remember from Zimbabwe was standing out in front of Victoria Falls, and it was something that literally took my breath away. you just can't imagine the power of Mother Nature and its ability to create something that was just so beautiful. And it really occurred to me that we have a very giant responsibility to look after this gift that we've been given.
When we got to meet with the ambassador, the U.S. ambassador to Zambia, Eric Schultz, and he shared with us a leadership trait that meant a lot to him, and that was the leadership trait of predictability. I've thought a lot about that through the months since then.
This trip to Africa, Dubai, really set a stage of leadership on a global scale. To go on that trip and to experience it, to see the sights that we saw, it really culminates all together. It ties together to make itself into this 3-week journey of exploration and understanding, to see leadership, successes and failures, all wrapped into one trip. As leaders, as future leaders, and as current leaders, we need to continue to learn about those around us, not just in our own neighborhoods, but those around us on a global scale. Because the best way to live in the world is to understand everyone in the world.
Here I'm standing at the end of the program with just a whole breadth of knowledge of these things, and more than I could have really expected. And probably the thing that I take away the most is that it's going to be an ongoing development beyond the class, beyond when it ends, and that's something that's been really meaningful.
I feel like I have a toolbox that's just full of tools now, and I'm excited to start to pull those tools out and to develop my skill with those tools.
In the past, if something wasn't working right, I would have distanced myself from it and moved on. I'm realizing now that there's some things that you need to work on, and relationships with other people, even if there are struggles, you have to work on those.
I've become much more self-aware, and I've also learned that it's going to be a lifelong learning process. I would say there's small changes that have happened along the way, and there's many more to come.
We're all leaders here, and we're always looking for something that we can do better to better ourselves and better the community and better each other. That's what makes a leader. You have to expose yourself to all kinds of different things. I mean, I was never exposed to going to a homeless shelter. I was never exposed to really kids with disabilities, and now that's what I want to do with my son and my family, is expose them and get them out to the real world.
The connections and the relationships we have with the 4 partnering universities. I think without those relationships, without the support of those universities, a program like this wouldn't be possible.
Ag Leadership for me has given me the tools to go back to my community and really make a difference, whether it's joining a local board or children education, something within the community that I'm going to try to work with, especially with Christine, my fiance.
Ag Leadership expects you to know the industry and to know who you are in the industry. and your role, but it's more about how you can be a better, more effective leader, not only in the industry, but in your home, in your community, and in your world.
The California Ag Leadership Program is an incredible journey in self-discovery. I had no idea I would be learning so much about myself. As I think about the future with the skills that I've gotten from the California Ag Leadership Program, I see a lifetime of learning, a lifetime of developing even greater skills, and a lifetime of empowering others to be good leaders in our communities.
You know, I've learned so much in ag leadership. I've learned a tremendous amount about myself, my strengths, my weaknesses. I've learned a lot about working with others and learning about people who are different and think differently than I do. The program has really given me a new set of glasses in which to look at different problems and challenges around the world.
You know, I'll always be thankful to the program because it gave me a whole new perspective on life and challenged me to be a better person.
Leadership process is not fully about agriculture. You know, whether it's with disabled children or places that work with felons who are now trying to make a better lives for themselves. Seeing, you know, what organizations and nonprofits do like that, it really kind of helped me grow as a person and really understand what the role of leadership is all about.
The California Ag Leadership Program has transformed me into the man that I need to be to move further in my life and my career.
On behalf of all of us in Class 44, thank you, California Ag Leadership Foundation.
Thank you.
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 Thanks.
Thank you.
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 Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, California Agricultural Leadership Foundation.